Greetings, fellow Battle Brothers. Rodamont here. Thank you for tuning in to Battle Brothers, Episode 3, More Than Sellswords. You bring the ghoul's head to Ryman the steward, who stares at it for a long time. That reminds me of someone. I can't quite put my finger on it, and I'm not sure I should. Excuse me, Sellsword. I borrow your time without paying for it. Servant, give this man his money. The spare, jagged fangs sold to the town. And the copper ingots are purchased, perhaps for trade. The tools and supplies are also relatively cheaper at this town, but we worry that we won't have money for wages, so we press on. It'll be quite a long journey to get back to Allen and Friedewald. Ungeared peasants frequent these roads. The Dawnland is dangerous, and Millmark full of brigands. We'll stand at the ready to engage these brigands if these peasants need protection, allowing them to pass this just once for free. Heading north to Allen, the day turns to night. We pass one of the Allen Company's armies. Hopefully, they're on their way to destroying those bandits. In Allen, they have been recently besieged and have a nearby pig farm looking for building materials, so it's in high demand and in low supply. Fortunately for us, we brought some. They've been recently raided, and their warehouse burned down. We'll wait till the morn to sell the supplies that we have obtained. Deciding that Mitterfels is a good place to invest our efforts, you decide to offer the protection of the company and take up any work suitable for your talents. You act like a gentleman in your dealings with the locals and encourage the men to mind their manners while in the settlement. There was of course, some griping at first. Gessler was sorely disappointed to give up brawling with the farmers, especially with Battle Brothers spending so much time in Mitterfels. But you convince the men that having a friendly base of operations is important in your line of work, as it meant getting better prices on the market and more people willing to join your motley band. It's also much less tiring not to have to dodge the militia all the time. You even enlisted the men to do some small tasks in exchange for nothing but goodwill. I found that little brat who wandered off and dragged him right home. Gissler brags quickly outvied by Aesgeir. I went to the market for their old spinster, split her firewood for winter, and even put out her washing, but I drew the line at rescuing treed cats. The company has gained renown and everybody in much better spirits. This will help us. Taking a look at the Allen Town's market, the copper and wood that we purchased will easily be sold for additional profit. And the peat bricks sold here might be purchased and brought to another city as well. There is a cap damaged but ready to be repaired, purchased for Dietrich the student to don. The men contemplate past battles and think about what might be best for them to become better suited in combat in days to come. Alfred the Short is not happy with his moniker. So so he'll be forever known as Alfred the Scorpion, for his bow bites deep. And his footing is always true and sure. Alan has another contract available, and the men contemplate it. Seeing that the town has recently been raided, we would be happy to help. It is easier if you're ever visiting the tavern in Katzenberg. Make sure to try the roasted goat. Let's pay a round for the men. And they are euphoric. Taking quick stock of the company, good spirits are in very high supply. Raban of Allen looks out his window. We both know that brigands and the gods know what else are terrorizing these parts, but they are all quite fond of the roads. After a particularly bad run, my old caravan guards lost the heart for the job, and I need someone to watch my shipment. The next one out is going to Katzenberg to the southeast, maybe a day or so from here. Does that sound like a place you'd be willing to be paid to go to? Why yes, let's talk money. He gesticulates with his hands, pointing at his fingers as if counting something, but it means nothing to you. Judging from experience, this is good payment for the task, 200 crowns when the contract is done. We accept your offer, and we will depart on this caravan. We have frequented these roads and seen many bandits, but nothing more. Our company easily dispatches bandits. Many signs of battles past fought in the middle mark. But now Katzenberg is well supplied. A well-supplied Katzenberg means that we will stay here for the night and hopefully purchase armor and weapons in the morn. During camp. It falls to you, the commander, to see the company succeeds, not just on the battlefield, but also in fame and riches. And so you spend the evening pondering about a bigger plan for the Battle Brothers in your tent while the men talk and laugh around the fire. You're never going to become a legend simply by chasing brigands and doing small-time contracts. What do you proclaim to the men the company will set out to do? We could use a battle standard. So that way we're recognized from afar. Having one to be made is costly. We'll have to gather 2,000 crowns for this. Alternatively, we can set into the wilderness and discover the unknown and plunder it. Or we can form a formidable company and raise our strength to 12 men. That will allow us to take on more profitable work. The men like the idea of searching the wilderness. The wilderness remains unknown, and that will be our next ambition. The well-supplied Katzenberg has dog kennels and a Fletcher. And the Fletcher has very expensive weaponry, far beyond our ability to pay. In the open market, there is relatively inexpensive tools and supplies, as well as some bread, fish, and ground grains to purchase. There's some damaged padded leather armor that will make great for the front line. Geselher, very happy to do away with his linen tunic that offered almost no protection, is now finally properly protected. Katzenberg does not want to do business with us. We'll head back to Allen, hopefully for yet another contract. But on the way there, we're going to take the path less traveled. Hopefully finding some ruin or hostile camp without having been paid. There is ruins of Borgen, a once proud fortress now lying in ruin. You can't make out who you'll be facing. Attack at your own peril and be prepared to retreat if need be. Unfortunately for the men, they spot 15 zombies and decide it prudent to retreat from combat. This is not a battle that would be survived today. The men back out the way they came, back into the hog forest, disengaging the zombies. The hogfolk forest might have other points of interest. Old battle sites dot the landscape. These undoubtedly the results of zombie combat. Heading deeper towards Allentown, we'll need a reprovision for food if we are to explore the wilderness, and also, perhaps, look for contracts with noblemen eager to lose coin. We're going to pay roomers and patrons. The innkeeper rings a bell to let everyone know the next round is on you. You like mushrooms? Well, I certainly hate them. But there's not much else to be found in the stinking swamp besides biting midges and spiders. The men note that the swamps are known to be empty. We'll head north to Friedewald, where our company got its start. Hopefully, there'll be work to be found there. Leadwin of Friedewald crosses his arms and purses his lips. Ordinarily, I wouldn't ask some sellswords to guard a caravan, but my usual crew is a little out of it. Sickness, drunkenness. I think you get it. What's important is that I have important cargo going to Koppelsfest, about 2 days to the southwest, and I need someone watching it. It's not the kind of work we're looking for. We're going to head west to Donneswald through the Druid Forest, hopefully finding ruins or hostile camps in the Belford. These forests must be well frequented. They seem empty. No bandits to be found. There won't be work in Donnerswold. But maybe, just maybe, a rumor or two. We'll come back. We're going to head west. There's no tavern in that town. The westward march up to Hammerstead is a bit too far with the meager rations that we have. We'll head south to Eisenstein. We should just have enough food to make it there, and to have cut a path through the forest, maybe identifying any points of interest. We're desperate for bread, although overpriced. We purchased the last of it. and look upon the contract they offer. The elder speaks to us. As I look for somewhere to sit, "Oi, mercenary, how long has it been since you've slacked your sword with the blood of evil, cruel men?" He drops the sarcasm, and you figure you'll be standing now. We here at Eisenstein having a bit of a tiff with some local brigands. Local to us, that is, with their little rat's hole not far from here. Obviously, I think the answer to this issue is to hire some finely armed men, such as your little company of good fellas. So, does that pique your interest, mercenary? Or do I need to find sturdier men for this task? Well, let's talk money. He gesticulates his hands, pointing at his fingers as if counting something. Judging from experience, this is good payment. You'll be paid 660 crowns when the contract is done. Well, I accept your offer. We'll be headed to the crumbled homestead northeast of Eisenstein. A farmhand by the name of Albright is hired for this task, burgeoning our numbers to 9. A simple pitchfork procured for Eisenstein, as well as a little hat, for he has not earned anything better. We would ideally like to hit the crumbled homestead in daylight, seeing that it is dusk. We make short work of the distance to engage a few poachers and raiders, well armed and armored. This will be a tougher fight than many past. We do have superior numbers, but they certainly have superior gear. We'll have to be careful. They have javelins to throw, and bowmen in the back, so hanging back forever is not a good option. Raising our shields up, we're hoping to protect our back line while they close the distance. The brigands do not look eager to rush foolishly towards us. Heaving javelins, Hacken is pierced in his side. We won't have the luxury of hanging back in this fight like many past. We'll have to pursue. Given that we outnumber their men, it might be wise to try to engage their archers, outrun them, and force them into melee combat. Surrounding the enemies, the superior armed enemies, will also be a very wise decision. The bandit that foolishly raced up towards us has been dispatched by the new farmhand. These shielded front spearmen ready to absorb the brunt of their initial push. Alfred lets loose an arrow on the brigand raider, knowing it's more likely to hit shield and armor than man. But the shot does connect. Our backline peppered by javelins. Gisseler and Hacken hopefully going to make it all the way back to stop the volley of arrows and javelins. Ulrich creeps forward, but unfortunately, a campfire in the middle of the camp blocks good shots. He aims instead at a brigand poacher 4 paces back and hits him deep into the kneecap. The front brigand raider is slowly fading, wounded with armor destroyed. Hakon races backwards and manages to close upon the brigand poacher, hopefully putting an end to the volley of arrows. Likewise, Robert closes in on one of the javeliners. He'll be having to switch weapons in order to engage. Aesgeir, finally getting into the fight, grazes the neck of the brigand raider, leaving him on death's door. Hakon slashes the arm from the brigand poacher. He is now ready to flee. Hakon taking the opportunity to close even closer to the last poacher. Ulrich notches back his crossbow and lets loose a bolt wild deep into the battlefield, missing the fleeing brigand poacher's head. Robert, ready to put an end to the javelins, slashes wildly at the brigand raiders, thrusting past his head deep into his armor. The front raider is felled by the farmhand, and our spearmen ready to absorb the hits. The fleeing poacher ends up in a pile of his own blood. His panic got the best of him, and now all that is left is a bow and a club on the ground. Alfred doesn't have a very good shot and will need to be able to reposition. He'll give up the opportunity to attack just yet. Gessler, ready to rack up his body count, slashes but misses the poacher. Aesgeir, deciding which of the 2 men he'd like to try to impale, decides the one without the shield is the better bet. And Ulrich, having no shot on the man without the shield, repositions and lets loose a bolt that misses its hit. Hakon separates the last poacher's head from his shoulders, with opportunity to loot the bow and arrow. Robert, looking to continue thrusting into the brigand poacher at his toes, unfortunately has suffered grievous injury and requires help. Dietrich, ready to respond to the call, instead of raising his shield, decides to go on the attack. Perhaps surrounding the remaining brigand raiders will send them into a frenzy, allowing them to flee and giving Robert the chance to survive. But worry not, Ulrich, sure as his aim, downs the brigand raider. Puncturing the lungs of the last raider, there is no hope. He knows it. He's fleeing. His lungs, his chest, everything ready to expire. All that is left is the felling blow. The farmhand proved himself quite useful in this fight, as did Alfred the Scorpion, Ulrich, Hakon, and Gessler, racking up more kills. Fortunately for our battle brothers, a lot of good equipment has been procured through the slaughter of these raiders. Helmets and armor and military maces will be put to good use. Making sure that these weapons stay in good repair is crucial. Aesir, having donned an apron since we hired him, is fully deserving of better armor. Robert, seeing that his padded surcoat has been shredded, says, "You can have it. You just have to repair it." The helmet, Hacken claims as his own to be able to protect him for future combat. And the hand-me-downs get handed back to the archers, finally, with something to protect their head. Marching back to Eisenstein at dusk, our men ready to spend the time to repair the equipment. Much of our tools and supplies will be used to make sure that our equipment is in good condition. Luckily, the 660 crowns for that kill will help to fund the repairs. The men decided to head back to Mitterfels, the city that is most friendly with our company, hopefully offering cheaper cost tools and supplies for repair. Arriving in Mitterfels, we'll sell the equipment that is no longer needed, purchase some discount tools and supplies, as well as ammunition, and then check on the condition of the weapons that we were repairing, potentially trading up from our initial spears to better weapons that do more damage. The men assess the weapons and armor from last battle and re-equip what they think might be best in battles to come. A shield purchased from the market, and old falchions and militia spears sold at market value. The bolts of cloth and the cloth rolls obtained from the bandits, assuredly procured through Caravan plunder, also sold off. And the contract here we will discuss with Ryman the steward. A bird is perched on Ryman the steward's window. The man seated points at it. I wonder if that's how they got in. The brigands, I mean. I think they must have snuck through a window and then right back out. That's how they got away with my golden talisman. The man slowly rises and stalks around the room. He crouches about, ready to pounce on the bird, but the creature scatters before the man can so much as flinch. Damn. He returns to his seat, wiping his hands as if he worked up a sweat during his attempted avian ambush. My task is simple, Sellsword. Bring my property back to me. Kill the brigands too, if you wouldn't mind. Rest assured, that's what I'm offering you now is a fine prize for your work. 90 crowns in advance and another 370 when the job is done. Our relationship here is important, so we'll accept without haggling. One last look at the market, making sure that we haven't passed up any good deals. And a quick look as to who to hire, and we're off. Footsteps easily tracked to the south. Perhaps these are the brigands that stole the golden talisman. We'll have to trek over the Clodhead Mountains, and to the south, and to the Shingle Humps. From the top of the mountain, we can see brigands and ghouls dueling to the death. This terrain uneven and difficult to traverse, the thieves have about a half day's lead on us. They've broken camp, and we've spotted some thugs and a poacher. Easy quarry for our experienced band of brothers. Despite the nighttime, we'll engage. Brigands, just as your employer had thought. They look scared, presumably understanding that the steward's well-paid wrath is about to descend upon them. Out from the shadows comes the first brigand, ready to meet his end. Gessler makes short work of his face. Pierced cheek, he is already wavering. Armed with but just pitchforks and no helmets, these men are not ready for battle. Despite the nighttime, we let loose bolts, hoping to strike target. The new flails will be a little difficult to get adjusted to, but Dietrich is ready, smashing the face of the first thug he sees. Ulrich follows up with a injured shoulder shot, and Robert, hoping to finish him off, sends the man to an earlier grave. Hakan races past Robert, closing in on the brigand thugs with the pitchforks, knowing that pitchforks are no good in point-blank combat. Gessler squares up against the brigand thug, aims for his head, and misses. This new flail difficult to use. Alfred also cannot land shots in the dark. Fortunately, it cuts both ways, and their poacher misses as well. The new farmhand, given a fresh bow, is ready to see if he can't make the bow work in his favor. Unfortunately for him, he misses. Ulrich does not. The second of the quarry is dead. Gessler's armor is shredded, and Aesgeir is coming up to try to help. Robert, despite his cut arm injury, closes on the pikeman, and Hakan easily decapitates the first. The men are eager for bloodshed, and the bandits are collapsing, fleeing, and broken. Hakan is easily able to shrug off the poacher's clubbing attacks. And Robert and Gessler close in on the pitchforked thug. He's ready to collapse. "We've got you surrounded," they say, seemingly toying with their prey. The foolish thug tries to flee while absolutely surrounded with nowhere to go. He dies. The enemy retreats. We're going to run them down. The night is not over. The raid shall continue. These bandits will meet their end. Victory was assured, and the Turtle, Mr. Mojo, and Crimson, as well as Gessler, all benefit from the fray. The under-equipped bandits don't have much in the way of loot, but the battle is over, and we retrieve the golden talisman from the wasted clutches of our enemies, and prepare to return to the steward. Surely he'll be happy with our success. The march back to Mitterfels is rather far, going over the mountains, so we'll seek a shortcut to the west. Perhaps these mountains are less vast, and we cut through the misty burrows. We still have not found a ruin or hostile camp to destroy, so once we get back to Mitterfels, we'll be looking to gain provisions for the search. Finally, back at Mitterfels. The steward's resting his legs on two dogs. He recalls the same story as he's told before. Perhaps a poor memory the man has. He doesn't know how to close his windows, but he does part with the crowns he promised. Crowns well deserved. Some cheap grains and bread purchased. And the surcoats and gambesons we took off of those raiders will be best used on our ranged units. Robert the Turtle mulls over his experiences and sees fit to improve upon his combat. Looking in ways that he could improve, he contemplates what does not yet make a decision. Perhaps he should be brave or fearless, maybe optimistic. He does not yet know. But as far as perks go, Colossus seems most fitting. Mr. Mojo, ready to make a name for himself, thinks that perhaps recover would be a good way to do it. Wielding this heavy axe does fatigue him, and being able to recover mid-battle would be quite helpful. Gessler also mulls over his experience. He prefers to avoid future arrows. And we will be giving him the moniker of Papa G. As sure-footed as he is, he improves. Looking over the equipment that we have, we discard anything unneeded and repair what might be useful for future recruits. Crimson figures out how to become a better bowman, as well as act quicker and last longer in battle. Crimson wants to get better with a bow, but that means having more experience under his belt. He's found it difficult to try to hit his targets, so perhaps Bullseye will aid him in his future endeavors. Buying multiple days' worth of provisions is expensive, especially given that there's no guaranteed payday. We're going to have to go to the nearest tavern for maybe a rumor about bandits afoot. The counselor crosses his arms and purses his lips. He would like to hire out us to be caravan guards, because his current ones are sick and drunk. But no, we don't want to go all the way to Mitterfels. That's too far off. It's not the kind of work we're looking for. Thank you for watching Battle Brothers, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 28th. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my gaming community, Rhodamont.com also has a link to Discord, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. I hope to catch you in next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Sellswords.